Chris and Mary Rodwell are mother and son. Their relationship is at a critical stage as a result of a deeply held belief that has torn the family apart and changed their lives forever.
Mum started getting involved in some interesting stuff about 20 years ago. And how old would I have been? We've had a family separation. My dad really wasn't into it at all. I don't like to think of Mum as a crackpot. It'd be really good if she could prove to me that she wasn't.
Well, it's cost me certainly my marriage, and I think that it's changed every belief I've ever had.
She is now in danger of permanently damaging her relationship with her son.
I'm soon told by Chris if he doesn't want to hear any more about it. He makes it quite clear.
It is a large part of your life that I can't share.
My desire is for him to just at least understand why this has become important to me. More than anything, I think that's just, would like some understanding of that.
This belief is not about race, religion or sexuality. It's something quite different.
It's so out there, it's so sort of wacky, you know. I mean, you know, people do a lot of crazy things and have lots of crazy experiences, but I mean, this is literally off the planet, you know. we're sort of, you know, we're dealing with a whole nother sort of element there, and in the middle of it all is Mum.
Mary Rodwell is one of the world's leading alien abduction counsellors. She's in demand all over the world and is constantly travelling, giving advice, lectures and public appearances.
Well, I counsel and offer support to people who have interactions with non-human intelligences. Some people would say that's extraterrestrial beings.
Her son Chris is a man of science. He works as a vet, and empirical evidence rules his world.
It's all good. I love science, you know, the method behind it. And I mean, the problem really is that for the last 20 years, me and Mum have had this sort of conflict between us. I'm coming at it from one angle, she's coming at it from the other. She's really passionate about it, she believes. I don't.
I believe these advanced intelligences have been visiting this planet since the dawn of time, and I believe they're here to assist our evolution to another level now.
The ultimate evidence would be seeing one of these little dudes walking around, little grey guy, you know. I somehow think it isn't going to happen. I'd love the opportunity to be proved wrong.
Chris has given his mum a challenge. Prove to me that you're not crazy and that aliens exist, or the subject is closed forever.
So it's a really crucial point in my relationship with Mum. I want her to convince me after all this time that she's not crazy, you know.
Mary has grabbed the opportunity to prove her case with both hands. She has set up a schedule traversing Australia to immerse him in the alien community, and she is confident she'll be able to convert him into a believer.
More than anything, it would be wonderful for my son to realise that this isn't Mum just going on some airy-fairy kind of mission, you know, to make her life interesting in her latter years. But in fact, it's because it is so vital that everyone understands that there are people hurting all over the planet that have nowhere to go, and I'm just one person that can actually offer that support. So I'd like my son to understand, more than anything, how important and why this is important, and for him to understand the reality for himself, because actually we're all involved in this.
Chris is flying from his home in Melbourne to Gladstone in Queensland before driving to his mum's home and office in Agnes Waters.
It's always been a source of conflict for me and Mum, or sort of, should I say, you know, sort of one of those things, you know, in families you just don't go there, you know. It's kind of like at the Christmas roast and things. You don't, certain subjects taboo, you don't talk about. And this is one of them, and I think it's because it's one of those things that there's a lot sort of bound up in it. Or a lot of this sort of stuff, you know, heralds back to Mum and Dad splitting up, and, you know, sort of I think there's been a sort of natural resentment for me to kind of really want to go there, as well as the fact I find the subject, you know, quite sort of hard to sort of get my head around.
Chris has arrived at his first destination, his mum Mary's home and counselling rooms.
All right, where are they?
Oh, hello.
Where are the aliens?
My gorgeous lad.
There you go, Mum.
Oh, mwah.
Good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too.
You got the kettle on?
Oh, yeah. I'll get it on in 2 minutes.
All
Do you
right.
want it now or in a minute?
Well, no. Well, I'll just dump my bag if you want to.
Yeah, I'd be lying to say that I wasn't nervous. I mean, this is a lady that's written books. She tours all over the world, and she's been to places like Oxford University and debated high-level academics and the president of the Skeptic Society, and she's beaten them.
Got any freshly baked scones for me?
Oh, yes. That and the whole banquet, my darling. You know what I do for you, don't you?
All right.
Hey?
No worries.
All right?
Do you think that people out in the suburbs, you know, working in Woolies or holding down a job, raising their kids, what relevance is that to them? Do you think that you know, I mean, is it going to be, you know what I mean? Like, it might be, even if it's happening,
Yeah.
let's say it's happening, you know, what relevance is it to somebody, you know, that, you know, possibly there are people or things out there that are visiting planet Earth when they've got to put, you know, pay the mortgage? Do you reckon people care? I mean, really? Do you think they do? Or is it just a certain selection of people that care?
I'll tell you the relevance, because some of those people are having experience and encounters with these beings and they think they're going crazy. Housewives with children that are talking about going through walls. That's why it's relevant, because they think they're going crazy and are too afraid to even speak about it. My clients, you know, are people that, you know, paint your house. They're people that build your houses. They're farmers. They're young children. They're teachers. They're people that think they're crazy, are too afraid to even speak about it. And they're the people that come to me. So that's
Mary is desperate to get on with presenting her case, and before they set off on the road trip, she has brought her first witness to her house to tell Chris his story. Greg Lenole is ex-Navy. He claims to have been abducted by aliens and been on board a spacecraft. Today, Chris will get to witness a counselling session and hear Greg's account firsthand.
Hey, Mary.
Hi there, Greg. Good to see you. Oh, well, welcome, welcome. I know it's a bit cold today. I've got the heater on downstairs, and I've got someone I want you to meet.
Cool.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll go down there and. Well, Greg, this is my beautiful son, Christopher.
Greg.
And,
How are you? How you going?
Greg, I've known here now for the last year, and he's had some really interesting experiences, and I think I've questioned everything. I've also gone through a process that my clients have gone through, because when they finally start to believe maybe they're not crazy and maybe this is real, and if that's the case, everything they've ever believed in has to be reappraised.
It was about 1967. I'm 7 years old, 6.5, 7 years old, something like that. It's about 5:30 or something, like 6 o'clock. And to the south of us, there was this, what looked like a ball about this big in the sky. Kind of reddish colour, you know. And as I'm looking at it, I've said to my dad was there, and I said, "Hey Dad, what's that?" And he goes, "I don't know." He says, "Maybe the Air Force have something like this." Well, as it, within a few moments, this thing's just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, till finally it was like, well, it was right on the football field. It was huge. Like the football field, there was more of it going out past the main road. The red is now really strong. Also the sun's starting to set a bit more, but the red colour is really strong. And this craft, it was kind of an oval shape. There's a couple of hundred people underneath this thing and around it, looking at it. And then Dad says, "It's time for dinner. Come on, boys, it's time for dinner." And I was like, time for dinner. So we start heading in. What I noticed then was that literally everyone turned at the same time. And instead of actually, you know, like either running or something like that, they just all turned at the same time and very calmly walked back to their houses. I'm sort of lagging behind, and I just really want to look at this thing, because I've never seen anything like it, you know. And it's like spitting out all this phosphorus, right? And it's like, hey, wow, it's really bright. And what it does, it comes over the top of you, and it literally lifts you up. And what was really interesting is, I didn't remember going through any doors, right? It was like you were materialised or dematerialised or something. And then, so when I'm inside there, this craft is really big, like, you know, several stories high. Like, I'm not the only person who went on this craft, okay? Those kids didn't actually walk off. Okay, this is where we start getting a bit weird, mate. Right.
It's already been pretty weird. So.
Okay, all right.
It was a mixture of interest and kind of and trying to sort of go sorting out, what seemed to be incredibly rational, credible descriptions from something that's like out of the movies. Very passionate kind of guy, and I think utterly convinced about what he saw or what he thinks he saw.
And it literally lifts you up.
But there is something in Greg's testimony that has Chris intrigued, and he can't dismiss it out of hand.
You get hyper-fed information. I can have a conversation with an astrophysicist with no problem whatsoever. Yeah, I can understand physics, no problem whatsoever. I understand all of this stuff. Never, ever, ever did any of that. I was an F-grade student.
I mean, he's describing to me about, black hole, like high-level astrophysics. Now, he seems to have more than just a brushstroke idea of a lot of this stuff. You're positive you haven't dreamed any of this. This is kind of like, this is,
The biggest question I ever asked was this a dream?
Yeah.
More often than not, I've asked this. In fact, until I met Mary and a few other people, wackos here like me, I never really spoke this to anyone because it's just too out there, mate. Like who's this fruitlet thinks he gets picked up by spaceships and aliens?
Greg is a very credible witness, and despite her reservations about their validity, Mary has arranged for Gavin Wilson, a polygraph tester for the federal police who trained with the FBI, to come and conduct a polygraph test with Greg in an attempt to give Chris the empirical evidence he craves.
What I've been asked to test you on today is about your contact with UFOs or aliens, and we want to find out whether you've definitely seen those. Okay.
Bit of science, Mum. You've got a bit of a bugbear around science in general. So.
No, I haven't, not in the slightest. But I'll tell you.
Mum, you have.
Yeah.
You do have.
No, only when I think it's limited.
In the last 20 years of your life, did you ever tell a serious lie to someone you loved?
No.
A lot is riding on the result of the polygraph test.
I think he's going to pass the lie detector test. I've got no doubt. I think we'll see that as a clear pass.
Do you intend to deliberately lie to any test question?
No.
If we're talking about finally accepting on this planet that we're not alone in the universe, it's bigger than anything else humanity can take on board. Just think about it. Finally, we're not at the top of the intelligence pyramid. Oh my God, how are we going to deal with that? And what does that mean about what we understand about ourselves and our history? Because they've been visiting us for millennia.
Okay.
Have you definitely been inside a UFO?
Mary Rodwell believes aliens have been visiting this planet for centuries. She is an alien abduction counsellor and helps people to come to terms with their experiences with ETs. Greg Lenoble is Mary's first witness in her attempt to convince her son Chris that aliens exist, and Greg is currently undergoing a polygraph test.
Have you definitely been inside a UFO?
Yes.
I think he's going to pass the lie detector test. I think utterly convinced about what he saw or what he thinks he saw.
Are you 100% certain you've seen a UFO?
Yes.
I've run a support group where someone's come in and they've nearly had a heart attack because the person they're seeing in front of them is someone they recognise. And guess where they've recognised them? They've recognised them from being on the craft.
Okay, Greg, test is now over. Let's get the stuff off you. Greg, according to the polygraph, these things have never happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they are fantasy.
Well, I don't know whether fantasy is the word that I would use.
So what am I seeing in a regression?
Well, we'll go into that.
Yeah, right, okay.
There's a lot more work, you know, and that's it.
Okay, so this is my video diary for the first day. Greg, really interesting guy, lovely guy. I think he's probably a little bit confused. I guess the problem with it was something which is measuring conscious kind of stuff, or conscious memories, and his would seem to be, if there's anything at all there, that it's not conscious.
I think the whole scientific side of testing whether they tell the truth is very difficult actually for this particular experience, because when you are in an altered state, in other words a trance-like state, it's almost like, you know, you're being drugged. You know, it's very hard then to know what's real.
It's day 2 and Mary and Chris are on their way to Gosford, where Mary is to be the key speaker at a UFO convention. The fallout from the polygraph test is still continuing.
But how do you expect then, you know, your regular Joe Blow to be able to believe it if the people that are having the experiences don't believe it themselves?
Well, that's what is hard, because ultimately, you know, people have all these things going on, they've got no way of explaining it, so many of them think they're just going crazy.
People can believe that they're Jesus. People can believe that they're, you know, that they're listening to, you know, beings from another world. But whether or not it's actually happening is a completely different proposition.
Yeah. Well, there are people that have actually seen them. This is the problem. But getting someone who's actually going to go and do a lie detector test to tell you they've seen them. Most of them are whistleblowers,
you just said
you know.
That there's that many. How many people in America who believe? So how hard is it to get somebody that's going to pass a lie detector test or multiple lie detector tests about whether or not they've seen an alien?
Well, some may very well be able to do that. But, you know, Greg was one of those that's still coming to terms with the possibility.
With the evidence presented so far being discredited, Chris is now wondering whether his mother may be delusional.
I mean, she's my mum. I love her to bits. I would like to think that nothing would come between us, but she's a bit balmy, and she probably will get balmier too. You know, I've told her I'm gonna pick her up at some point, and she's gonna be, you know, wandering around the streets. But you know, I mean, I said to your mum, you're 2 steps away now.
Oh, this isn't bad, is it? No, this will work out well. Hello, ladies. Nice to see you again. Right, well, we'll go up in front there. Okay. Looks like Hugh's up there, so we'll... Right. Hello, Hugh. Oh, nice to see you.
Today, Mary will be the guest of honour at the Gosford UFO Society. Chris will get to witness the high esteem in which Mary is held by the alien community.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. What you're hearing there is something that seems to manifest after contact. And this is what I call evidence of an experience, because you don't start to come out with strange languages if it's just an hallucination. They often will have out-of-body experiences and have this experience of going through walls. Yes, you could say, are they sleepwalking? But you can't be outside with all the doors locked from the inside and sleepwalk. Some of them, I think, may be even interdimensional beings, and some of them may even be from our future. We just don't know. This is the trouble. From whistleblower sources that I've spoken to, have said there might be at least 50 or 60 that the military actually know about and haven't been disclosed. perhaps is many, many more. And I call it a bit of a catalyst to waking up to a greater reality. And I think it's really important to remember that it's a journey. And that it's a journey of joining the dots, even if the dots encompass the universe.
Only on 2 occasions have I struck people who feel they've been abducted.
Yes.
One was quite interesting, that he was abducted from about the age of 3 through to about the age of 14, when he then moved from England to Australia. And he said since then he's had no further contact. Now, how do they follow them through their life if they remain in an area where he moved such a dramatic distance? They seem to have lost contact. Is that normal or not?
I don't think it matters where you are on the planet. If they've got your energetic imprint, if you like, they know where you are. It just may be that they've not needed to work with him at certain periods in his life.
Yes. My question is that those languages that were spoken, those that spoke the language, do they know where they come from or who they are in relation to? Because I've recognised one of those languages.
You recognised one of the languages, did you? Do you have a sense of where it's from or how you know about this language on any level?
I hit the wall, didn't want to hear about aliens, didn't want to talk about aliens, didn't want to listen to aliens, alien language, look at alien symbols, talk about crop circles, talk about orbs, all the other stuff that's just done with aliens.
How many of you have actually seen a UFO? There's quite, I would say, what, Joanne, how many? 50%? More. It was nice to see him there listening to my overall take on my work. I think he found it interesting to just not only see his mum, I suppose, doing her thing.
You kind of just push the play button on Mum and she just, you know, she can talk for hours on this stuff. It's incredible. I mean, and she doesn't seem to get tired at all.
So that's 25, and that's 50, 75, 85, all that kind of stuff. And eventually, you know, hopefully we actually see the spacecraft at the end of it. And that's
it's you know, it's just draining. I mean, I left home a long time ago, so we don't spend a lot of time together. You know, she's got her life, I've got mine.
And as we gradually start to come to terms with it, maybe we'll actually get them landing and saying, hi, I'm from wherever, or whatever. Okay.
Hey,
We're all set to go now,
are you finished?
Yes, I'm done.
I'll speak tomorrow.
It's day 3 and the Rodwells have travelled to Canberra. The stress on their relationship is starting to become evident.
Just like a UFO. Look at that. Just needs an engine now, doesn't it? One of those anti-gravity things.
Are you ready to go?
Chris is only interested in conventional science and wants empirical evidence, and his mum knows it. With this in mind, Mary has arranged a no-holds-barred public debate with an eminent astrophysicist in the prestigious Shine Dome, owned by the Australian Academy of Science.
There's my crazy old mother up there, you know, talking to people about aliens. So, no, look, I'm sure, look, it's going to be really interesting to see you go head-to-head with the men of science.
Let's see what I can do tonight.
Yeah.
And hopefully you won't put me in the home afterwards.
I've already got the form signed, Mum. Don't worry, I'll cut you away.
Thank you, my darling son. So much, so nice to be loved.
The topic for tonight's debate: should the public be told that we are being visited by aliens? And Mary is going to have her work cut out. Her opponent, Dr. Lineweaver, has been researching this topic for decades, and he's on home turf. Many in the audience are his students.
Well, welcome everyone to what's being called the UFO debate.
Some of what I might say could certainly be challenging to many of you because we still live in a consensus reality that says that aliens don't exist. Well, I hope that I can at least give you a little bit of an overview of why I believe they certainly do. A gentleman came to me and he said, Mary, he said, I've heard you're open-minded. He said, there's no support groups for this. He said, I am considered a loony if I talk about it. And he said, and I've had contact with non-human intelligences, but not only myself, but my whole family. You get a whole range of people, housewives, small children, a little boy of 5 saying to his mum, I don't mind going through the walls and they teach me more on the ships than I learn at school. Where is this coming from?
When you have somebody who says, a child, for example, says, I saw a boogeyman. I saw something that scared me. You don't say, the boogeyman is in there, because that'll scare the child out of their wits. And I don't think it's necessarily good to tell people who have seen aliens and been abducted, say, yes, you did see that, they do exist, when you have what I would consider very flimsy evidence to support that. And I don't listen to people talk, I look at evidence and hard data. I will hope, Mary, that when you can tell your clients to bring a digital camera next time, because for 50 years we have been seeing very blurry black and white images of UFOs and spacecraft and Photoshops, versions of them. Every time I see here's a UFO, here's a spacecraft, they're all blurry and out of focus. That is just inconsistent with the progress in technology, and they're so easy to put in your pocket and just carry it with you. Go to bed with it, and when you wake up in a spacecraft, take a picture.
And the fact that it's treated with such light-heartedness and often ridicule is half the problem. That's what I'm dealing with all the time. So this is part of the reason why you don't hear about it, and there's the elephant in the room and nobody talks about it. So let's go to the next part of the what I would say to you. There are cartloads, absolutely cartloads now of images, people just taking pictures and having a UFO in them. People who don't believe in UFOs are actually seeing them. In focus. Absolutely in focus. When I met the ex-Defence Minister of Canada, the Honourable Paul Hellyer, he worked in the White House, privy to many, many secrets. He actually saw one of these alien beings in a hangar. And he had alien technology from the Roswell crash that he had to slowly secrete out to corporations, such as fibre optics, night vision, digital chips, Teflon, all come from reverse engineering of the craft. Thank you very much.
So one question, did aliens invent Teflon?
Look, I'm going from my research in 1,600 cases in terms of their experiences on the craft and what they either tell me from conscious memory or they tell me through hypnosis. They describe, yes, genetic material is taken, but they're also taught quite amazing things from the origin of the species right through to quantum physics.
But Einstein, was he visited by aliens? What do you think?
The sort of expert physicist, he sort of really, he really had a kind of quite a flippant attitude.
And he said, this is mathematics of the future. And this was
who is this guy?
Professor Brian Josephson, if my
Brian Josephson, yes, I know him. Was he the only one who said this was mathematics of the future? Because Brian Josephson is fallen into quite some disrepute. I was at a conference with him about 2 years ago, and he's really gone off the deep end by most scientists would say that. So
both of them said exactly the same thing. Mary. So maybe both of them have a problem.
Can I ask?
I don't know.
Well, we do have more than 2 mathematicians in the world.
Well, I did shift, and it wasn't a shift necessarily a quantum leap in my belief of the subject or the or UFOs or whatever. It was just the fact that I think it was a pretty natural response that someone's attacking Mum, and I felt, attacking my little old Mum.
Given the fact that we've just made these amazing discoveries where we've almost had to sort of reinvent the way that we approach physics over the last 100 years.
Fundamental re-understandings of things.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Is it entirely possible that we could do the same thing with a subject like extraterrestrials?
Well, we'd try. We'd love to be able to do that, but we need some evidence.
The essence of his argument was show me the evidence, which is the essence of the whole argument. I mean, it's always going to be the essence of the argument, unless we can see tangible evidence.
I'm going to put the proposition to you, and that is that we have been contacted by extraterrestrial life, and we should tell the public that we are not alone. Can I see all of those in favour? It's a victory for the negative, ladies and gentlemen, but maybe it's a loss for humanity.
Whether or not you believe or you don't believe, you can't take away from the fact that, you know, she's out there fighting a fight that she believes in, and I think there's a lot to respect about that. So she did good, Mum. She did good.
Chris and Mary Rodwell are attempting to resolve a 20-year-old family conflict by exploring Mary's beliefs together on a road trip.
How'd you sleep after last night?
Well, I woke up in the night with it going through my mind, probably thinking of some of the better answers I could have given if I'd had time to think about them. So I was a bit frustrated. I thought, oh, I could have said that. Oh, I could have said that. But you can always do that in retrospect, can't you?
You know, I think you did all right, Mum.
Thank you. I mean, I'd really sort of like to know where you are with things now in terms of, you know, looking at this
Looking
phenomenon.
at my crazy old alien mother.
Yeah, if you like. You know?
Oh, look, I'm still... Look, Mum, to be honest,
Yeah.
there's nothing I've really seen over the last couple of days that has made me sort of change the way that I look at the subject. I still I haven't seen anything that's really kind of blown my socks off. I think you presented really well. You know, Mum was under attack. Here's Mum doing her thing, and who's this guy to treat her like she's an idiot? Clearly you believe, or you are passionate enough to go out there and face ridicule on a daily basis, and for that I think you're very brave, and for that I was really proud of you. And it was like, good on Mum, she's up there no matter what you think of her, and she's hammering it out with some professor of astrophysics at ANU, and for that, you know, I take my hat off to you. Whether or not I've sort of softened my view on the subject, probably not.
Okay. Well, when we get to Sydney, I've got something lined up.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure I wouldn't have anything other than that.
Which again may just add to that more empirical hard evidence that you're looking for. So I think that's going to intrigue you.
Well, you're just gonna leave me hanging like that, are you?
Well, you're going to have to wait and see then, aren't you?
You're full of surprises, Mother.
I know.
Full of surprises. You keep me guessing all the time.
Yeah, that's
I'm sort of, you know, ducking and diving all over the place.
Mary's confidence is growing, and she is about to play her ace card. Her quest to show Chris scientific evidence now takes the Rodwells to a Sydney suburb. But before they get there, Mary wants to address the issue of photographic evidence.
This was taken from a bed and breakfast in England near the crop circles by Silbury Hill.
It's quite cool.
crystal clarity there. That's what you don't normally see.
Here's another one.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say what that. It doesn't look like anything that I've seen before.
Oh! There's another. Oh my God! That's not fireworks, mate. No, I don't think it is either.
That's really quite cool. I mean, you know,
what
military satellites, but I mean, I can't. It doesn't. I don't know.
Well, when that astrophysicist last night said, you know, little dots and what have it, he's not seen what's available.
Well, why didn't you show this last night?
Because I didn't have time to show this. If I'd had...
I'd have started with this. Start your talk with that.
Yeah, well,
and say,
I didn't
what is
have...
that? What is that,
Yeah.
Prof?
Yeah.
And see what he says. You know, put it back on him.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have time. 10 minutes.
Because I can't explain it. It'd be interesting to know how he could explain it.
I was able to show him some footage from a woman who, for 40 minutes, filmed these anomalous lights, and they really are quite clear. And it was interesting seeing Chris's reaction to that. For the first time, I felt he'd actually shown some animation around this.
Immediately, I was hooked in. I was kind of like, shit, okay, this is a bit different. This is not, you know, a fuzzy picture. This is quite clear. I'm seeing something with my own eyes that I can't explain. So I'm I was sort of, yeah, and I don't know, there was a weird mixture of kind of excitement and maybe, you know, maybe Mum's got me on this one.
So that's today, a good day. And tomorrow is going to be another interesting one for Chris, I suspect, because we're going to take him to meet a gentleman that's had a very interesting experience with these beings, one that left some, I believe, very tangible evidence. How convincing that will be for Chris, we'll just have to wait and see.
Why is it? You alright?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get down. I haven't got as long legs as you.
Hello.
Hello, Peter. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Great to see you
been,
again.
Mary?
Oh, I've been good.
Good to see you.
Oh, and you.
Always
been a
good.
while.
It's day 5 and Mary has arranged to introduce Chris to Peter Korry. Peter is a security guard and a devoted family man with a remarkable story to tell about an alien encounter that he claims left him with the Holy Grail, DNA evidence.
No, what happened in 1992 was something you don't expect. And I've never had an experience or heard of experiences that have happened during the day. And this is 7:15 in the morning. I'm lying there and I feel like something jumped on the bed like a cat. As I sit up, I see sitting, straddling me, a naked blonde female, and sitting on the corner of the bed. So say I'm lying here on the bed, she's straddling me there, and right on the corner here is another female. The one that was sitting on top of me was blonde, very milky white skin, very, very attractive, but at the same time, longer face, a long nose, but it wasn't a big nose again, it was just like, it fitted their features very well, larger eyes, very well proportioned, I mean, I've got to say, and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? How did you get in here? And as I'm thinking this, I sit up, and as I sit up, she's cupped the back of my head with both her hands and pulled me to her breast, left breast, and pushed my face into it. My defense mechanism, whatever you want to call it, and it's so out of thing with me, I took a little bite, I nipped, and I felt flesh you know, in my mouth. I didn't taste blood or anything, but I felt this bit of flesh in my mouth. I thought it was a bit of a nipple maybe. And as it hit the back of my throat, it was like you poured acid down the back of my throat, just this really bad chemical reaction. I started coughing, very heavy coughing, and as I've looked down and coughed, I've looked up and I saw them looking at each other, and I picked up what they were saying. They weren't speaking, but it was telepathic communication again, and it was, he's done this wrong, something's gone wrong, this isn't the way it's supposed to be, he's done this wrong. And I'm like, what the heck, what are you going on about? I could pick on it, I could hear it. I had an erection for like 6 hours afterwards, and it was pretty painful. And under my foreskin I found 2 hairs. One was like an S shape, almost curled, and the other one was sort of not, it was just wrapped around, embedded in though, like if you push your nail into you get a little bit of a mark. That's what they were in. They were embedded. I could see that they weren't on the surface. And as I tried to take them off, peel them off, it was total agony. And so I knew it had to be from them.
Peter released his sample for DNA analysis, which was conducted by a biochemist. The results that came back were extremely unusual.
And mate, I was bombarded with phone calls from the scientists. Come to our house, took hair samples from me, hair samples from Vivian, blood from me. So I was starting to get like a forensic investigation. What they found was the analysis confirmed the hair came from someone who was biologically close to normal human genetics, but of an unusual racial type, a rare Chinese Mongoloid type, one of the rarest human lineages known, that lies further from the human mainstream than any other except for African pygmies and aborigines. There was the strange anomaly of it being blonde to clear instead of black, as it would be expected from the Asian-type mitochondrial DNA. The study concluded the most probable donor, therefore, must be, as Korry claims, a tall blonde female who does not need much colour in her hair or skin as a form of protection against the sun, perhaps because she doesn't require it.
And Peter, thank you.
No, thank you, Mary. You know, we're always here for each other. Yeah. That's what we've got to do.
That's right.
Always.
Yeah.
No, you do some good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
He was a very, very believable, credible guy that works on construction sites and has now, you know, dedicated a large part of his life to kind of to telling his story. Do I think he's doing it for any kind of reason other than the fact that he feels compelled to do it? No, I don't.
Yeah.
How about we get together?
Yeah.
When you get so many people coming to you, ultimately from doctors, lawyers, nurses, social workers, farmers, housewives, small children, all relaying similar patterns of experience, then you have to say, what's going on? You know, are they all crazy? Or is this in fact a real experience?
Chris has decided he needs to talk to Peter Korry again.
Hello? Hello, Peter?
Speaking.
G'day, it's Chris Rodwell. How you going? Your account yesterday was pretty mind-blowing and quite detailed. Look, I was wondering whether or not you would be prepared to undergo a polygraph test.
Oh, not a problem. I've always requested it, mate. I even at one stage asked Bill, there was some talk of some truth serum that was being used in some military stuff, and I said, mate, I'd be more than happy to do that as well.
Okay, great. Cheers, Pete.
Cheers, sir.
Bye.
Bye, mate.
It makes it much more believable to me, the fact he was so eager to do the polygraph test. I mean, how can it not? There's a guy saying, without a hesitation, without a shadow of a doubt, yep, I'll do it. What can you go, okay, well, right. That wasn't, I was expecting even a thought. Nah, do it.
So here we are. Paul, so I better make sure I pause this time.
The polygraph test will take a day to organise. In the meantime, Mary has arranged to take Chris to meet Dr. Rugbear Bartell, an astrophysicist at the University of Western Sydney, one of only 3 people in the world whose job it is to scan the sky for laser communications from aliens.
We have a target list of stars that we want to look at, and then we use specialized equipment here, which is very sensitive to pulses of laser beams. It has to be a nanosecond pulse for us to pick it up, and that information is fed into this computer. If we have extraterrestrials out there, if they are there, they'll be more advanced than us, and therefore radio technology or radio wave technology will be old hat to them. So they will be sending information to us on a laser beam. So if there's a signal, it's hidden inside here. This is all noise. And I have a special program then which analyzes this to find out whether there is actually a signal inside.
So it just takes the noise away?
It takes the noise away. What you do is subtract the noise. If there's something there, it will show up.
In December 2008, Dr. Bartel picked up a suspiciously sharp laser-like signal. This type of signal has never been seen before, and Dr. Bartel believes it could be contact from an extraterrestrial being.
2 years ago, we found this. A very sharp spike hidden inside the noise. So we were quite excited with this. I've written here, is it ET, But the thing is, I need to get someone else to independently find the signal again,
Could I ask though, is it possible that if it was an extraterrestrial signal, that they actually may be in something moving, like a craft or whatever, and that you got the signal from there and they've actually gone to another part of the galaxy, for example, and you're just not targeting the right part of the galaxy?
That may be possible. That may be possible.
How many times would you need to see that signal repeatable for you to start to go that statistically significant?
Or maybe once or twice, maybe another few times.
You get another few of those spikes, you might be dancing around on the rooftop.
Yes, I have actually a bottle of champagne to crack if I find it.
Science needs empirical proof, which means seeing, touching a spacecraft or seeing a being, I suspect, coming through the door. We have this empirical evidence. It is so frustrating for me when I know there are people that know the truth and yet can't say because of Official Secrets Act, because they're threatened otherwise. And I know the conspiratorial side doesn't rub well with Chris, but whether we like it or not, these are credible people that have spoken to me. They've got no reason to lie.
It's the final day of the road trip, and the Rodwells have to wait until the evening for Gavin Wilson to fly in from Adelaide to conduct a polygraph test on Peter Korry.
Although we are on the ground, for your safety and the safety of those around you, please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until we're
Whilst the polygraph test is conducted, the room must be cleared. So Mary and Chris have to wait outside until Gavin is finished.
It's going to be fascinating. He wants to get an answer and he really is very interested in doing it, so that's going to be a fitting finale, I think, really. If he passes that, what can you say?
Now, these things, they just record how you're going to breathe during the test. So just raise your arms up again. This one's going to go up and around your thoracic area. All right, just drop your arms down.
Yeah.
Those sensors on your fingertips, they record perspiration. All right?
Yep.
Okay. If you're feeling faint, if you're feeling uneasy, queasy, whatever, let us know if you do.
Yeah.
Relax there. Okay, Peter, the test is about to begin. I'm now going to get you to close your eyes for me. Keep your feet flat on the floor. Don't move and answer each test question truthfully. Is today Wednesday?
Yes.
Is your first name Peter?
Yes.
Do you intend to deliberately lie to any test question?
No.
In July 1988, did you definitely witness 5 aliens in your bedroom at your parents' home in Hurlston Park?
Yes.
Did you lie to me when you said you definitely witnessed 5 aliens in your bedroom at your parents' home in Hurlston Park?
No.
Is honesty more important to you than loyalty?
Yes.
Did you deliberately do anything to try and beat this test?
No.
Did you lie to me when you said you definitely witnessed 5 aliens in your bedroom at your parents' home in Hurlston Park?
No.
Okay, test is now over. Just Chris, Mary, I suppose you're dying to know what the results were. Peter passed the test.
Great. I'm happy.
So, as far as I'm concerned, what he witnessed, there has to be some merit in that.
The polygraph test has validated Peter's account of the events and reinforced his belief that the scientific community need to take this matter seriously.
Look, I think the DNA went a long way to helping people believe. Hopefully with a polygraph to back it, people can then sit back and say, well, if the guy's not lying, there's got to be something there, you know, and if there's something there, and if it's 5% of all the reports around the world, if 5% of those reports are legitimate, and mine is part of that, then geez, we've got a phenomena we need to look at.
I mean, the results actually haven't surprised me, because I've always believed Peter, and I know that he's got absolutely nothing to gain by saying something so incredible.
Chris.
Yeah.
What's your reaction?
Oh, look, what's my reaction? I mean, I can't sort of sit here and say, look, here's a guy who's put himself on the line. He's told a very amazing story, sat a polygraph test, passed a polygraph test, and say, you know, I can't. There's got to be some other explanation. So in that sense, yeah, obviously, I'm open-minded enough with Pete's story. Does that mean that does that mean that, you know, I'm a convert?
Chris, if anything, though he's got a healthy scepticism, he's also very open-minded. And I think that with what we've just seen tonight, I think that's definitely got to make some difference in terms of how he views this.
It was an amazing day to cap off an amazing kind of time. And, you know, I guess I keep coming back to the fact that, you know, after having looked at everything, the only certainty is that there's still uncertainty. And the more questions you ask, the more you find. And it just keeps going round in this sort of circle. I mean, there's a little thing where you go, oh yeah, I can kind of see that, I can understand that, and that seems real. You know, the most credible parts of this whole investigation really have been the lights that Mum showed me. Can't explain those still. And a guy who says he's been abducted by aliens that's passed a polygraph test. You can't deny that. I can't deny that, you know, and I have to take that on board. You know, has it swayed me? Yeah, it swayed me, but it doesn't mean that I'm a believer. I'm not going to go yelling from the rooftops that I think we're being visited by aliens and that UFOs exist. Yeah, but you know, you gotta say, well, I don't know.
Hello, my darling.
Are you ready to go?
I'm all ready to go.
All right, let's go.
Time to go home now, hey?
It is.
Okay. Right, I'll hand this one in.
All right.
10 days is a very short time to show what I've been learning about for the last 15 years, and I know it's been very confronting for him. I don't push this subject down my children's throats, who would? But I did sense that through that, I think the most compelling thing I got from what I saw of Chris was he was very moved by some of the stories, you know, from people who've talked about their experiences. I think that has moved him.
I suppose in the end, though, what I have seen and what's been just as important to me as investigating the subject is, you know, seeing mum work and seeing mum tick, and it comes full circle to the fact that, you know, mum is a, you know, she's remarkable in that sense, that, you know, she's always been a helper, and people love her for that, and I love her for that, because I think it takes remarkable courage to do what she's doing.
Chat live with Mary and Chris Rodwell at sbs.com.au/documentary.